A lot of people don't know this, but you are unknowingly and unwillingly contributing to the inflation problem. Every time you borrow money from a commercial bank, that's them creating money from thin air. They are actually pumping more dollars into the economy by producing more cash through issuing of loans. So more supply and demand. If they put more money into the economy, more dollars out there that are just fiat currency, the value of the dollar is going to be driven down. Hi there, Vern McCarty here from the Ascendant financial team. I'm an authorized infinite banking practitioner through the Nash Institute, and I get to work with good people just like you every single day, coaching them to implement the process of becoming your own banker, the infinite banking concept. Today, I'm going to talk to you about my 5 top tips for infinite banking. Oh, and by the way, make sure you stick around to the end because I've got a really, really important bonus 6th tip for you, okay? To a lot of people, this is a new concept, right? It's not a new concept. It's been around for many years. And the tool that we use to implement the process of becoming your own banker, the permanent participating whole life policy, ideally with a mutual insurance company, it's been around in Canada since the year 1847. So these policies have been around for a really long time, been paying dividends every single year for 172 straight years, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. But yet we've been taught that storing your money with an insurance company is a bad place to save money, and it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm applying for my 10th policy tomorrow. I'm really excited to ramp up my system and continue to capitalize. So my top tip number 1 is educate yourself. Make sure you get the resources that you need to better understand the process of becoming your own banker. This is one of the best resources possible. Nelson Nash's book, the pioneer, the founder of the concept, Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept. If you have not yet read this book, you have an opportunity today. There will be a description to access a copy of the book from our bookstore in the post description below. So make sure that you go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. This is our website, the Ascendant Financial website. Of course, you can find Becoming Your Own Banker, our Infinite Banking Introduction to Infinite Banking Concept webinar. You can go ahead and go to our website, click here, you'll get instant access to the webinar. Of course, you can also access those webinars through this channel, the Banker's Vault. So there's many other resources on the Banker's Vault. So that's another great resource for you to go ahead and educate yourself. And if I head over to our shop here for a moment, you can see this is Nelson Nash's book is right there. These are kind of our top sellers, for lack of better terms, but you can get some swag if you want, but there's a lot of great resources. Now, I'm not promoting our store here because this is where we make tons of revenue and profit. I'm just pointing out, you don't have to buy them from our website, but these are some really good resources that you can find, and you can go ahead and get them wherever you want, as long as you do the work to educate yourself. Do you like videos? Do you like audio? Here's another resource for you. This just happens to be on YouTube, but you can look for the Wealth Without Bay Street podcast on any of the podcast platforms that you like to frequent and listen. So there's many episodes here. We even have some really good guests, of course, and there's client series videos as well, where actual clients will come on and talk about their experience having implemented the process of becoming your own banker. Make sure that you take the time that is required to educate yourself on the process. I don't understand why the greatest athletes, speakers, and even coaches, performers on the planet, they all have coaches. They work with good coaches. And, we, for some reason, we also think that in life, we have to do everything on our own. We have to, get it all figured out. And that's just simply not the case. So I think in any area in life, if you're looking to expand your capabilities, make sure you get a good coach, especially if you're looking to implement the process of becoming your own banker. It doesn't have to be myself or anybody on our team. If you're going to consider implementing the process of becoming your own banker, head on over to the Nelson Nash Institute, infinitebanking.org, and look for the practitioner finder. Depending on where you are in the country, of course, we service clients coast to coast in Canada. We're licensed right across the country. We have advisors and practitioners all across the country on our team. So we'd be more than happy to help. Of course, we hold ourselves out there as the absolute best that implement this process with our clients. However, again, like I said, there's plenty of great people out there that you can be working with who are actual authorized infinite banking practitioners through the Nelson Nash Institute. And make sure that when you work with somebody, they can actually show you their own policy system. They can show you what they've been able to do with their system and how they use it. Because this isn't a knock on anybody in the life insurance industry, but any life licensed advisor in Canada can sell you a permanent participating whole life policy. Very, very few of them actually understand how the policies work and how to implement the process of becoming your own banker. And probably even fewer are actually implementing the process of becoming your own banker in their own lives. Top tip number 3, be specific. How are you going to accomplish the objectives that you want to accomplish in life if you're not really clear about what it is that you want to accomplish? We can achieve any objective that we need or want to accomplish through implementing the process of becoming your own banker. But it's really important to, when you get started, you can't do everything overnight. It's got to be implemented over time. So when you get started, make sure that you're working with somebody that can help you get clear and you have some specific objectives in mind that you want to accomplish. That might be education funding, a retirement income strategy. It might be a debt recapture solution where you're building your system and using it to eliminate debt. In fact, I mentioned earlier our webinar that you can access probably in this playlist right to my left. You can access our 90-minute webinar. I was lucky enough to lead a webinar in the month of August of 2021 here, where I shared an example about how I built up my system. I was able to access a policy loan and I paid off my Ford F-150 5.5 years early. So now, instead of those payments flowing away from me to Ford Credit Canada, I'm actually recovering all of those payments, putting them back into my system while my cash values continue to grow every single day, where I have more and more access to capital and gaining momentum on my money. By the way, you want to click on the video right above me because my friend Sarblo Gill, my great colleague, he shares amazing case studies on debt recaptures on how the process of becoming your own banker can help you build momentum on your money while you're eliminating liabilities at the same time. We can build assets and eliminate liabilities at the same time. So make sure you check out Sarblo's video. The next tip that I want to share with you, just get started. Get yourself educated, work with a good coach, have a specific objective, and get started. Get started and be patient with the process. In today's world, everything is all about instant this and instant that, instant coffee, text messages and messenger and all those kinds of things. Well, we got to kick it a little old school here, get back to the basics, be patient. This is a process that can last you your entire lifetime. In fact, it can create momentum and a generational wealth factor for you to build a family banking system and keep more of that wealth in your own family. And guess what? You're going to be depositing money and using capital and financing things for the rest of your days on planet Earth. So you're going to be here anyway. Be patient, stick with it for the long haul. And top tip number 5, make it a lifestyle. Becoming your own banker is not a product, it's a process and it's a lifestyle. So it's a way in which you act and it's a way in which you think, right? I'm always thinking about ways that I can have less money flowing away, have more control, and find resources, more capital, so I can capitalize and build my system. I'm always following the proper steps. And, one of those steps is making sure that I capitalize, making sure that I actually access and use the policy values via a policy loan. I can use those policy loan values, finance things in my life that I need. And then when capital comes back in from my business and revenue that I generate, I follow the process. I take that money and I pump that financial energy right back through my policy system so that the companies that I own policies with have more capital to grow more profit, to share more of that profit through dividends into my system with me. So right now you're pumping all of your money, all that financial energy through someone else's bank. We can reverse the flow of that and pump that money into a system that we own and we control, and we get to participate in all those profits. So that's what it's all about. Make sure that you actually make it a lifestyle. It's going to require some, changing of habits. And this isn't something that you have to do overnight. So again, going back to one of my earlier top tips, be patient with this. Okay, well, congratulations. You stuck around all the way to the end. And as promised, I'm going to deliver you, let's call it a 6th bonus top tip. Now, what's interesting about this 6th bonus top tip for you, it actually has another 5 tips inside of it. The top tip number 6 that I want to share with you is to follow Nelson Nash's golden rules. This is really important. Nelson left us a gold mine of knowledge here, and he left us an actual process that we can follow so that we can build our system and we know exactly what to do. We can always go back to his book and his teachings, and he's guiding us through the process, even from beyond the grave here. So Nelson Nash's golden rules, if you haven't heard them, I'm going to share them with you. The first one is think long range. He taught us to think 3 or 4 generations ahead. That's why I've got policies on myself and my wife and my kids. I'm already thinking about my unborn grandkids. I'm solving problems that haven't even happened yet. That's what we're doing, is thinking long range, thinking generations ahead. The next golden rule is don't be afraid to capitalize. So if we want to start a banking system, banks need capital to get started. They cannot make loans unless they're capitalized. That's why the commercial bank is lending out so much money, because we're all sending our money there and they're lending that money out to create profit for their shareholders. So what I do is I carve out existing savings and cash flow, and I build up my policy system by capitalizing, making deposits into my policy system as premium. And the more I capitalize, the more cash the policies grow and produce every single day, giving me more and more peace of mind and opportunities to take advantage of good deals and things when they come up. Next golden rule is don't steal the peas. If you've read Nelson Nash's book, you know exactly what I mean by that. He uses a really great example of starting a grocery store in there and relates it back to banking. All he's really saying by don't steal the peas is when I access a policy loan from my own policy system, I'm going to have a plan to repay that policy loan. If you borrow money from a commercial bank, guess what? You're making a payment on their terms on a schedule. So I do the same thing. When I access money from my own policy system, I pay back the policy loans, and I pay back even more than what I borrowed, because I'm just pumping more money into a system that I own and I control. And then, as Nelson would say, if I knew I could get every penny out of the system that I put in plus more, would I ever object to putting more in? And my answer is no. Golden rule number 4 is don't do business with banks. A lot of people don't know this, but you are unknowingly and unwillingly contributing to the inflation problem. Every time you borrow money from a commercial bank, that's them creating money from thin air. They are actually pumping more dollars into the economy by, producing more cash through issuing of loans. So more supply and demand. If they put more money into the economy, more dollars out there that are just fiat currency, the value of the dollar is going to be driven down. We've been taught that inflation is like this natural phenomenon that occurs, and it's part of it is simply not true. Part of it's just as a result of how the banking system actually works. And I know I already pointed out a nice video up top with a case study that my friend Sarblo Gill is going to share, but probably in the playlist beside me, my colleague Dan Allen also shares a really great video about inflation, and he actually talks about inflation. So if you can't find it in the playlist beside me, make sure you go check out the main page for the Banker's Vault, subscribe, ring the bell, make sure you get those notifications for new content that we're posting, and you'll be kept up to speed on all of the new great value that myself and my colleagues are sharing. The last golden rule that Nelson shared with us, and this is a really, really important one, it is rethink your thinking. So a lot of people are afraid to think, right? When we think about things, we have to get responsible for what we're thinking about. So not only think, you got to think, but you have to actually rethink your thinking. You got to think differently. And the only way that you can sift through the nonsense that's out there, all the financial noise, is to make sure you ask questions, read books, and actually think about it for yourself. Don't just take what somebody gives you for face value. If someone's telling you to put your money into a certain investment or some kind of a financial tool, or even becoming your own banker, just think about it and then rethink your thinking. Think about the banking process. Right now, the banking process is working against you. But if you can rethink your thinking and you can be patient and you can follow these rules that I've shared with you, top tips that I've shared with you in Nelson Nash's golden rules, and rethink your thinking, you're going to have an opportunity to have the banking process work for you.